Hey everybody, amprepairguy.com, 203-892-4119. Also, hardbockelectronics.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. Sorry it's late here. So, this amp has a complicated story attached to it. I'll try to explain it the best I can. So the customer purchased this from, I think he said Japan. He sent it to a guy, I'm not going to say his name, it's a guy that works on a lot of this kind of stuff. Specializes in it, I guess. He sent it to the gentleman. Well, this is according to my customer. He sent it with this board as, separate, thing to install. I covered the name out of respect to the guy who makes this. Nice guy. I don't know if he wants his name in the video or not. So he sent the board with the RF deck and power supply, okay? He also had purchased a Harbach filter cap board for me. Still in kit form. He sent it separate. He sent that to the same guy. So I'm just lucky that the customer sent me a picture of the inside of the RF deck, top, bottom. Because I always want a picture of the plate tuner variable cap, because if the plates are melted at all, I can't get another one. And I've tried to rebuild them in the past, but a lot of times the ceramic is so brittle it breaks. So I just don't get involved with it if it has a bad air variable cap on the plate side. So my mistake, I didn't zoom in on the pictures, but I'm glad he sent me pictures, and I kept the pictures. They're in my text on my phone. So no fingers can be pointed at me. Okay, so first off, I'm going to start pointing out mistakes with the board, and I'm going to read the receipt that was provided to the customer. The customer was charged for this, but no mention of the board installation. So when I first got it, I noticed this had a really bad solder connection. This yellow wire, I touched it, popped right off. These connections aren't great either. So, customer, I noticed in the picture that this piece right here was actually flipped the other direction. I think the customer said this was missing and the person supplied this, but it was backwards. See, it's like beveled inwards, and that was pointing out. So the customer flipped it back the right direction. This was also added at some point. I didn't ask if the person who worked on it did that, but usually it's that 2-prong plug for the key line. Now it's an RCA jack. I noticed it had this tubing over the solder connections, and it was slipped off a bit. That is the line voltage. Blow runs on 120. That could have touched the chassis. So, okay, let's talk about the mistakes here. You have the white wire, which is the line wire that goes back to the transformer for the CW position. For the, you have the voltage selector switch, which changes primary tap connections on the transformer. So it's supposed to have the black wire going through the line wire. So it's got the white wire. That's a mistake. BIOS mod has not been done. Still has the configuration on the relay for the 120 volts coming from the power supply half. Okay, so that wasn't done. You can see no solder on any of those connections. Another mistake. It does look like the gentleman tried to hook the key line up to the board. This is the key where it says key would connect to the RCA jack, or a 2-pin prong if it had the 2-pin prong. And then the other one's the relay. Okay, I would go to the switch side of the relay. So both are actually soldered to the same pad. That one has solder, so looks like he tried to get it to work and couldn't get it to work. Okay, so moving on. These mica caps are charred. Looks like solder work has been done on the rheostat. Started thinking, oh well, I know if 5K resistor opens in the supply, you can end up, well, you'll end up with the full potential of the plate on the rheostat. That's probably what happened. This is probably a replacement, probably smoked and got residue all over the mica caps. This cap was either added or changed. Ceramic disc. Okay, so let's read what the receipt says. And once again, I'm not going to say who worked on it. I'm not even going to show the receipt because that would give it away. Replaced the number 850 lamps. Replaced missing case feet. Replaced 2 broken glass shields. Replaced case feet rubber tips. Repaired bad relay contacts. Cleaned resurfaced contacts. Cleaned and lubricated all controls and adjustments. Cleaned and lubricated all switches. Check contact switch alignment. Check tubes for shorts emission. Pins cleaned and straightened. Cleaned all tube sockets. Checked adjusted pin clamp tension. Cleaned and shined rear apron power and all interconnect connectors. Repaired broken missing Drake case feet. Replaced worn missing Drake case foot rubber protection bumper. Cleaned dust dirt from chassis top bottom with air hose and brush. Chemical degreased chassis tube sockets removing grease and dust. Performed external cleaning front panel knobs and case. Performed external cleaning, I already said that one. Performed case touch up small scratches and chipped areas. Cleaned and polished and buffed case. Performed complete circuit alignment according to manual. Final assembly, 1 hour burn-in on bench on air contact for test. Old coax cable is not repairable. Made up new cable the same length. So I'm guessing this. So the feet were mentioned multiple times. I'm not going to comment on the other stuff. You guys can use your best judgment with the other stuff. So, okay, power supply. I'll read what that says. There's a separate receipt for that. L4b power supply is not repairable. Has bad power transformer. Secondary shorts to ground when it gets hot. Okay, so this is the condition it was in when I got it. I mean, it had the cover on it. Secondary leads cut. The leads on the bottom of these capacitors were cut. All the other leads were cut. Except for the ones going to the 50K resistors. That's part of the bias circuit. Okay. One of the diodes up here is blown apart. Some of the caps are popped. Turn around to the bottom. See, 5K resistor, that's where it would be located. On the terminal strip right here, that strip's missing. You can see the residue from the cap popping. That's what, that along with the rheostat, and it tells me what happened. This was one of the leads that went to the resistor. It was a 7-watt 5K. And if my memory serves me correct, this red wire should be on the opposite side. And the lead, basically the 5K resistors in parallel with these two connections right here. So it had the line cord connected. I had to remove that to get the case off. I'm going by memory with that, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So I don't have the schematic in front of me. So I took a reading between the secondary leads. It's about 6 ohms or so. Went between each lead and the actual core in a spot that doesn't have any, lacquer or whatever on it. One lead to the core, the other lead to the core, saw nothing. So first thing I'm going to do is build the hardbox board, take these out. Looks like someone, I'm guessing the guy took these out, and I don't know. I don't know what was going on. So he supposedly, well, we're just assuming that he tested this with a supply he already had. So, okay, so what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to pull these out, put the hardbox board in, and it won't hurt the hardbox board if I try to turn it on. You know, if it is short, I mean, the thing I don't get is you said it when it heats up. So the transformer was never connected to a good rectifier filter cap setup. So was it just turned on with the secondary leads disconnected? I don't, it's not making sense to me. Unless he turned it on with the old caps connected and he, you know, damaged it that way. That's only, I mean, if it's damaged, that'd be my best guess. You know, it's like a lot of times I have to try to think about what really happened because I don't know, I wasn't there. So I use the evidence in front of me to try to come to some sort of conclusion. It's missing the 0.82 resistor. It's completely gone. Not in there at all. So, okay, so I'm going to get to work on putting the board together, and I'll install it, and I will turn it on, see what happens. Worst case, it'll pop one of the line breakers. Excuse me, I'm tired. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys. Give you an update here. So, yeah, I was wrong. The positive wire was connected. The 120 volt line was connected back, you know, coming off those 250K resistors for the cutoff circuit. Forced bias. So that's disconnected. I'm going to try to get the bias circuit to work on the board. Hooked up a new B negative, and I pointed out before, but the B negative was actually connected right to the chassis. So I don't know what whoever, you know, I don't know who did that. Okay, so I'm just saying, I don't, you know, okay, I'm just showing you what I'm finding along the way. Okay, so new hardbox board is in. It's all nice. Luckily the leads were long enough. So I added one of those 0.82 resistors, took those 250K resistors out. So instead of drilling a hole and putting a standoff in over here, I thought about it. I put like a stud in between, okay, you have a ring terminal here, the stock one. It's like a solder tab terminal. And then normally the resistor would go up to the 50K resistor connection. So someone could always put that back in if they wanted to. Okay, I know a lot of people are real purists. So I put a stud in, left that old connection right there, put a stud in, and added another standoff. So put a solder terminal right there, and put the resistor between the two. Pretty slick, huh? New high voltage wire zip tied to the bracket and goes over to the board. So that black wire is Teflon coated, silver plated stranded center conductor wire. Okay, so I want to show you something I found. So here's the umbilical connection, the Cinch Jones type. Look at 3 of the clips inside of the connector body. They're pushed in. Okay, that's not good. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have to take it apart. So the person that worked on it before did not catch that. Or maybe they did and they just didn't fix it. Okay, so I'm gonna carefully undo this. I should check that high voltage wire connection and all of the other conductors at the same time. This will be my first time taking one of these, well, taking one of these apart on a Drake. I do have replacement connectors somewhere. I would have to find them. Okay, I'm gonna get back to work. Excuse me. Okay, so I carefully cut back the insulation, was able to, I'll retape that all up. But look, this is messed up. So, yeah, I don't know what the story is here, but it's messed up. Okay, just to show you, I want to show addresses on here about my new connectors. I only use you know, new parts like this. So look, got a lot of them. Actually, I have these. I think these are listed on the Hardbox site. I had given these to Jeff. He offered to pay for them years ago. I'm like, no, I got them for free, so I'll hook you up. But anyway, I got them back, and now they're on there. So, okay, actually, they came a part of a big deal. Anyway, so I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna carefully. I'm gonna write down the color coding so I get it all right the first time, because that would be very bad if I mixed any of them up. Okay, see you soon. Had a late night last night. Turned it on and the transformer's working. Didn't do anything to the RF deck last night, so went over everything, and I'll show this all opened up after. But this lead should not be here. This is the B negative. This is ground, so that needs to be cut out. I don't know what this person was thinking. I don't know who did that. Like I said, I don't know the entire history of this. I don't know what the last person did, what he did not do. All I can say is turn it on, transformer's turning on, let it idle for nearly 20 minutes, no issues. So I'm going to cut this lead. So I'm going to try to utilize the board that's in the RF deck with that bias circuit on there. If that's totally screwed up, I'll add a string of diodes and do the bias mod, so we no longer need that 5K resistor or the 50K resistors in the supply. So I'm going to cut this and add reverse connected diodes between the B negative and ground. So again, normally if you had that 5K resistor, you'd have the 50K resistors, and the 120 volts coming from those resistors would connect to the green wire here, and this would be the B negative, and you'd have that 5K resistor across the green and the yellow. So that's not needed. So, okay, so I'm going to add that and move the supply out of the way and get to work on the RF deck. I'm also going to add these at the B negative connection where comes in through the cinch Jones on the RF deck, so it'll clamp the B negative. If there's ever a short on the B positive, the B negative tries to come up to the same potential, and it'll protect everything, including the metering circuit. So, alright, see you guys soon. Okay, so I've started fixing things under here. I'll show everything when I'm done, but as I find issues, I'm documenting them for the customer. Okay, so here's the one of the secondary leads coming off the filament transformer. Get this solder joint. Okay, I'm gonna wiggle it. Sorry. Beautiful. See that? I'm gonna show you here. So, like I was saying, both connected to the same pad. The key and the switch side of the relay coil. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to work. See you soon. Okay, yet another issue. The RCA jack was not installed properly. It's binding. It's at an angle. There's a gap between the back of it and the plate that's attached to. So I'm gonna fix that. See you guys. That problem's been corrected. I just loosened up the two screws. I took the nut off the RCA female panel jack and loosened these two screws and slid the plate down and put it back in. One of the screws had a regular nut. One of them had a kep type nut, so I put another kep nut in there so they both match and they're nice and tight. Resoldered the lead to it. The back of it, the body of the RCA is up flush against that plate that it mounts to. So, next problem, input connector, it's fine. Output connector, nothing really. So I'm going to replace that. Normally I would replace both, but I really don't want to mess with that relay. So I already have to move the directional coupler board, power board, out of the way a little bit, so to get this connector out, but that has to be changed. The output one is critical, so I'm going to change that with a high quality one from Max Gain Systems, and almost getting to the point where I can shoot a video of everything I've done and plug some tubes in. I also need to make parasitic suppressors for it, so hey, see you guys. Okay everybody, amp is functioning. Customer wants a video of it on 20 meters. 1 kW slug, PEP kit is on. I'm gonna pin the meter. These are rated for 1200. Oh, I can't find my 2500 watt slug. I'm gonna clean my bench, most likely this weekend, I promise. 950 was cooked, had an issue, used it for years, so now I use my 847. Radio's on 20 meters. This doesn't have a SWR meter, so I was using this meter between the radio and the amp to check the SWR for each band. Between the radio and the amp, it's going into a bird attenuator load over on the buried over there somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to check it on the lower voltage setting first. Radio set, I believe, around 100 watts. Hey, so go ahead, key the amp with my foot pedal. Audio hello, audio hello, 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 just under 1 kilowatt. Audio hello, hello. Sure it's well over a kilowatt. Audio hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Play current, audio hello. Doing more than probably should be. Put it back on the lower voltage setting. Grid current, audio hello, hello, hello. Forward power. Hello, 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 relative. Not peak. Hello, hello. Shh. Actually. Oh, that's reflected. I mean, I'm looking in the camera and not at the amp. Anyway, that was reflected. That's why it was so low. Forward's going to pin. Hello, hello. Okay. Again. Hello, 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 hello. Remember, the receipt said the transformer was shot. Audio hello, 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 hello. I have been testing it. Audio. Audio. So 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10, one after another. On off, on off, on off, on off, on off. And she is working. It's been a long day, sorry, but I'm tired. So yeah, I'm gonna shut it off in a second, let it cool off. I can't touch the tubes yet. I'll pull the tubes out. I have my own test tubes in here. It's getting a brand new set of Pentalab tubes. I have these tubes in here I've never heard of. They had a weird name. I don't know where I put them. Oh, they're over there. They're old China brown based tubes. The anodes were shifted a little bit. Customer's going to get them back, but they're not going to high pop properly between the anode and the grid. You can clearly see the anode is shifted. They're called, I can't even read it. It's like a weird name. So I believe if you buy tubes from over there, you can put whatever you want on them, so they're just the old brown based China tubes. The white based ones are the ones you want. I'm going to get another 950. I don't really like using this radio. This is great for other stuff, but I don't think it has a built-in SWR meter. I'll have to go online and check. This radio has so many functions. It's crazy. So, okay, so I'm going to let this thing cool off, and I will be back. I'm going to show you every single thing I did, and you can compare the before, after, and everything I listed on the receipt to what you see. So the customer wants this because he wants to try to get his money back, and you know, to really, you know, I started my YouTube channel really to, I've said it before, to show the customer the work, customers the work I did, to show it's consistent, and also most importantly to show people what they should get when they send something in for repair. because there are a lot of people out there that will take advantage of people. This was a lot of work. I spent about 4 hours on it last night, and then all day on it today. It was just a lot of work making everything right. But you know, honestly, if I'd known it was this bad, I probably wouldn't have taken it, because I could have worked on a few amps in the time it took me to go through this. But I am just happy that I haven't seen any issues with this plate transformer. I don't know how the guy tested it. I guess he put a new cord on it, the customer said, but had no plug, wasn't even stripped or anything. The capacitors were clipped on one side, the leads, the rectifier was blown up in one of the diodes. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the guy was thinking. I don't know what, you know, I'm just being told what the customer said. Well, actually, what I've seen a lot of it in the receipt too, so I don't know. I just kind of feel bad for the customer. So, you know, he's an older guy, nice guy. So, okay, shutting it down. Voltage is bleeding off, and I will be back in a bit. See you guys. At least you'll see it real quick, but I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I have a lot to cover here. Please bear with me. I'm tired. Working on this all day. Okay, so I've said before I've had problems with this board. I don't know what's going on. I think this is like the 4th or 5th one. So in the instructions it tells you to put the wires in from the bottom. I didn't want to have to take the board out. I have more than half a brain, so the reason why they want you to go through the bottom is so you don't, you know, if someone stripped too much insulation off the wire, you wouldn't want the wire to touch the chassis. So obviously I'm not going to do something like that. And okay, so I have a fix for the problem. What I've seen with this board is something happens to one or both of these transistors, and the delay circuit doesn't work, and this relay doesn't fire, and you end up damaging this resistor. So what I do is I just bring the diode that's across the relay coil, I bring the ground side of it right to ground, because that's the side that's switched, and then I don't have any problems. So soft start portion no longer works. I don't connect the AC to this side, but the soft key and the bias portion will work. Okay, so it wasn't wired correctly. Looked like the gentleman tried to get it to work, because there was solder on one of the pads for the soft key portion. You have the key line coming from the RCA, or two female 2-pin connector. You know, when it's stock, that's what it has. It comes from over there to the board, and the other one goes to the relay coil, switch side. So there was that going on. He must have tried to get it to work. Oh, obviously, like I said, tried to get it to work, couldn't get it to work. And I'll explain why. Well, he had a problem with the, I don't know if he did it or it was already like that, but transistor issue. But he had the half-wave bridge, half of the half-wave bridge setup was still connected in the stock form. You have the two secondary leads, one goes directly to ground, and he had the other leg connected to the board with a poor solder joint. So I disconnected it from ground and connected it to the proper spot, and after I did everything else, I tried it, saw that wasn't working, so I bypassed it. Redid all of the connections over here carefully. Really bad solder joints. You had the white wire going through the board. Explained that before. So took a piece of Teflon wire and coupled them together. Soldered heat shrunk. Fixed the leads over here. I don't know if he did that or if they were already like that. So removed the jumper wires and again soldered heat shrunk. These are Teflon wires. I have a lot of Teflon, like I said a million times. Zip tied all the wiring. Added reverse connected diodes over here between the B negative and the chassis. We'll clamp the B negative if there's ever a B positive short. So he didn't do the bias mod. He, had the stock bias set up. He didn't even attempt it because none of the connections for the for the bias part of it had any solder on them. So I did that. I put a 100K resistor in and a piece of Teflon wire goes to the board. And center tap comes off the relay, connects to the board. The SO239 on the output side had like no grip. So swap that out. That's really important to have a good connection. This one's fine on the input. Didn't want to mess with that because I didn't want to have to mess with the relay. If I mess that up, that'd be bad. Okay, so I fixed, if I can find it, the Millen connector. As you saw before, it was all messed up, so I put a new one on. If I can find the old one. Okay, I'll look for that after. Grounded the grids. Did all that. They're all set. I fixed the RCA connection I showed before. It was touching the metal here. It was at an angle, had a gap, so I explained it before. Put 2 cap nuts and slid the plate down and redid it, tightened the nut up real good. Also the 2 cap nuts. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Also put a new jumper in. The other one was kind of shoddy. Clean the input rotary switches with deoxit gold, also the band switch, deoxit gold, relay, contacts, deoxit gold. He claimed he had changed the contacts. I don't know how that's possible, but everything looks stock there. He said he claimed he changed a piece of coax. That looks, you know, the solder joints, you know, I've seen before, look stock, plus his solder work compared to this solder work doesn't match. Okay, so customer said he stated it worked. There's no way he tested it, at least not on the CW position, because the wire going to the transformer for the CW position, you know, to get the lower voltage out of the plate supply, would have gone through this resistor, and that would have burnt up. Obviously this relay wasn't engaging, and you know, I don't have to assume that because, you know, he tried to do the bias mod, and I'm sorry, the soft key mod, and if it was engaging, then he wouldn't have had to have undone it and then just stuck the 2 leads together like I showed you before. So I don't think he tested it, at least not on the lower voltage setting. So he somehow burnt up the rectifier, so I put a new rectifier in. Also replaced the wiring over here, the 24 volt, which ends up being close to 30 volts, and also the ground, also Teflon jacketed wire. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to show you the inside of the power supply. Yeah, see, all zip ties around here. I like everything to be nice and neat. I have thousands of them, so why not use them, right? And board is covered out of respect to the guy who makes it. And so I'll be back. See you soon. Here's the bottom of the power supply. I grab a pointer. I also put reverse connected diodes down here between the B negative and ground. It had a jumper right here bringing the B negative right to ground. It also had the old B negative wire going directly to ground. Put new jumpers in for 240, nice and clean. No longer need the resistors, I'll show you after. New B negative wire with a Teflon jacket. So that's the bottom. I'll show you the inside. Okay, I installed the hardblock kit the customer provided. Nice, nice. Has the fish paper behind it, and it's double-sided board. I always flow the solder to both sides. New high voltage lead. Zip tied it to the bracket where the old resistors were, no longer needed, with the bias circuit on that board. I did a little slick thing here. It has the, you know, stock insulator on here, and then usually had the resistor here, and the 0.82 resistor would go between here and the resistor up here, that tab. So instead of drilling a hole in the cabinet, I put a stud between these 2 standoffs, left the solder tab at the bottom, and put another one up here, and just put the resistor between them. Okay, Nice and clean. No issues with this baby. Nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside for a sec. Well, here's the old connector. I think he mentioned in the receipt he fixed some connections, some other connectors for the clips for the connectors or whatever. Yeah, I don't know about that. So I showed before there, 3 of them were pushed in before. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way and show you more. Be right back. I guess there was some talk about cleaning the cases up or touch up or something. It's hard to see with the lighting, the camera, but paint's coming off all over the place. This one has some black something on it, like maybe nail polish or something, I don't know, but there's a ding right there. Put that aside, show you the bottom. Talked about 1 foot is missing. The customer said it had the wrong screw in it. I think he said, and it fell off. It's dented there. I don't know if this had this was packed really well, at least to me. FedEx packed it, so I don't think that happened coming here, but that's dented. And again, very dirty, scratched up. Put that aside carefully. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm done for the day. I have Harbuck orders that came in today, but I'm not doing anything on the weekend. So if you're one of the people who ordered the stuff late today, do it first thing Monday. Go out Monday morning. So weekends are for other stuff. So have a great weekend, everybody. I'm just glad I got this to work. Glad his transformer was okay. Took a lot of time. But she is done. So 73. Please like, share, and subscribe. Once again, amprepairguy.com. Also, HarbuckElectronics.com. 203-892-4119. 73.